Hi, this is Lulu, compulsive overeater. We're going to move on to the next promise, and it's called our regrets subside. My regrets subside. Okay, where it says the promise in the book is we we won't regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. So they've reworded it, our regrets subside. The second promise tells us we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. This assures us freedom, see, more freedom, from guilt over what we did, what we lost, who we hurt, what we might have been, right? We can remember the past to benefit from mistakes without dwelling on it. By benefiting from past misdeeds, we reduce the chance of repeating them. Absence of regrets makes life possible in the now. When we confront the past horrors, we emphasize the lesson that pain is the price of maturity. In abstinence, we would surely be distraught if the deep hurt we suffered while eating had all been in vain. Using the past as a tool for growth, we protect ourselves against slips by avoiding complacency and carelessness. We need not be ashamed of our past because we know we can bring our character defects into the open, admit them, and get help to rid ourselves of them. When we compare the real joys of abstinence with the fancied pleasures of binging, we can feel grateful. That's it. So my share on that is what jumped out at me was pain is the price of maturity. When I think of maturity, I think of spiritual maturity. Like as I enlarge my spiritual life, as I stick with the winners in this program, continue to feel freedom. I feel like I am spiritually maturing. This one little quote that I came across once, it says, despair and pain can energize us with an intensity to change that we don't normally possess. So I was energized to change with an intensity that I don't normally possess. So where did that intensity come from? It came from pain. It came from real pain. It came from repeated pain and disgust and shame and misdeeds and character defects and hating myself and being fat. I mean, it's like my darkest day came. My darkest day was presented before me. It energized me with an intensity to change that it just was normally not me. So now, working through this program. So now these steps I'm going to remind you that all these promises are written after step 9 in the book. So when it says, if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, what phase are they talking about? This phase, step 9, amends. So that's assuming we've done 1 through 9. We're going to be amazed before we're halfway through. Halfway through what? Halfway through the amends. They're talking about amends. I always thought like, oh, I thought it meant like halfway when I lost half my weight. It's like, no, when I've done half my amends, I'm going to be amazed. Before I'm halfway through with my amends, I'm going to be amazed. So at this point, at this stage of the game, when these promises are being presented, I've admitted my powerlessness. I've come to the realization that a power was going to restore this crazy ass mind of mine. I was going to make a decision to turn my will and life over to the care of God. All really 3 hard things for me to declare, but I did it. I wrote all about myself. It was my past, and it was not a pretty picture. Step 5 was brutal because all this stuff, I just felt like I was being hit with a hammer as we went through each one, that like with the truth, And then in 6 and 7, I was able to admit and see my character defects, which is now all of this stuff you see is in the past. It's all in the past, right? So, am I really going to have this new freedom and all these wonderful, wonderful promises to come true? But every time I think about the first 55 years of my life, I'm going to feel regretful. That's not freedom. That's not freedom. Okay. So how do I get to a point that I don't regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it? Well, I'm not going to regret my past because my past is basically my whole life. It's like my whole life and my whole journey. And, you know, the next leg of my life is also my journey. Will things, am I going to regret if I'm in a better space 10 years from now? Am I going to regret today? It doesn't even make any sense, right? So the first stage in this work that makes me not feel regret for my past is that I get to take a really good look at it, look at the truth, and I get to clean it up. That's why this is for step 9. So I get anything that, ooh, it's not good. It's just not good when I think about my past. I have the chance to either see the truth that maybe I'm overreacting and I don't have to bother lying to myself anymore with this thought, or it's a misdeed that needs attention and I need to make it right. And then when you make things right, you get to just kind of move on from it, you know. Um, like I'm abstinent today. I don't need to keep thinking about all the years I ate. Like, why would I ruin today doing that? You know? Um, and where it says, nor do I wish to shut the door on it, that's really important because my past is extremely useful today. It really is useful. Every time I share at a meeting, um, if I shut the door on my past, what the heck would I talk about? My past is extremely useful to people. When I take sponsees through this work, a lot of the way that they identify with doing their own writing is to see examples of my writing and see my ugly, you know. I didn't save that step 4 because it's like it's beautiful. It's just the truth. It's just the truth, and I'm kind of a lover of the truth. And it was the truth. That was the truth for me at that time. So I don't feel ashamed anymore. I don't feel ashamed of anything. Anything that was it- uh, to be ashamed of, that I was truly wrong and I harmed somebody. That's been taken care of. That has been taken care of. And I just needed. It started with bringing your character defects out into the open. If my sponsor sat with me and said, "You know something, Lulu, I've been sitting with you long enough and talking with you long enough. I'm going to tell you what your character defects are. You're annoying, you're obnoxious, you're very selfish, you're always defending yourself, and you're always." I would just be like, "Yeah, see you later." Like, I don't think I signed up for this. I wouldn't have even been able to hear that. I wouldn't have the ears to hear that. So I needed to find all of this stuff in my own handwriting. And she directed to me what this actually said. And then I was able to see the truth. And although it's gets really yucky before it gets good, um, it seemed like everything I discovered, who wouldn't regret it? And I probably did at the time. When we were discussing them in step 6, I was really feeling regretful and ashamed and terrible. And I just did my step 6 list and did my step 7. And then it just so happened that when I got really painstaking about the phase of amends, I was amazed before I was halfway through. Before I was halfway through, I was seeing how cleaning that stuff up was releasing me, you know, because I don't want to regret anything. Everything God's plan is just perfect. Everything that's happened is just the way it was supposed to be. And that is what I have on regrets from the past. What do you have on that, sweetie?
Lulu, that was awesome. Lulu Doodle, that was fabulous. I just got to say that as you were reading that, the the part that said that that pain is the price for maturity, I really, really, really that really resonates with me. And pain is really what brought me to my knees. And I crawled into OA. There was so much going on in my life that was just not pretty. And it was so painful. And then I had the weight on top of it. And that was really physically painful to carry around that amount of extra weight. The emotional weight I was carrying, the physical weight I was carrying was all painful. But I love that, like just the idea that basically it's the pain is the pathway to peace, really. And for me, like Lulu said, the not regretting the past or wishing to shut the door on it really came through steps 4 through 9. Because I was just actually, as Lulu was talking, I just pulled up my step 4 that I wrote in 2017 and just looked at the first few of the resentments that I had on my list, and just seeing that I don't regret any of that. And I see things with totally new eyes that I didn't see before. And that there isn't pain attached to it anymore, that the pain was what brought me to God. It's what brought me to searching for that higher power. And again, each level of pain can bring me to a new level of freedom, or it can take me the other way. It's a choice. I can either take that pain and experience more pain, or I can take that pain and grow from it and mature from it. And that's really the choice that each one of us has. And it's definitely a personal choice. I love Harlan, one of our favorite OA speakers, says quite often that pain is a great persuader. And that is so true. Like that's what brings so many of us come in. Like I remember just being a newcomer and just being complete mess and crying. I wasn't excited. I was not excited to step through the doors of OA. I was literally just totally broken. But I don't regret that. Like I love that. That's such a part of me that I can relate to the newcomer that walks in the door. I'm not embarrassed about how painful carrying around that much weight was. I'm not embarrassed about how I looked. I was then. I wasn't embarrassed about not being able to fit in the clothes that I would have liked to have fit into. I was, but I'm not now, because that pain is what brought me here. And so I really love that thought, just that as the promises, and as Lulu pointed out, that step 9 promise here, that we're going to start seeing these things before we're halfway through our amends. And some of them actually, I'm not going to lie, some of them I started to see before I even got to that point. So, and some of them I'm seeing just now, even after I'm, have been working it for a long time. Now some of these other things are happening for me, but that freedom from the past really comes from really taking a good look at that past and having somebody show me what I need to see. Because I could write all this stuff down. I could take this book and follow directions. I could read it and write down what they say, but there's no way with my broken mind that I'd be able to see what I needed to see, to be able to get that freedom and to experience the joy that I feel today. With that, I will pass it back to Lulu. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Oh, that was beautiful. Yeah, no, I'm good.